Уважаемые коллеги, мы рады всех приветствовать на симпозиуме, который посвящен очень важной и интересной теме. Это инновационная технология навигационного лазерного лечения, следующий шаг в будущее лазерного лечения сетчатки. У нас сегодня в гостях известный специалист, занимающийся данной проблемой из Глазного центра Берлин, Lichterfelde, Германия, Кристиан Рау, и мы предоставим ему возможность сделать первое сообщение. Пожалуйста. Мировой опыт использования Navilas, что мы узнали за последние годы.
Speaking in English, can everybody understand me?
No problem.
My Russian is very little. Okay. Use and evidence of Navilas. What do we know so far? I will be speaking about our experiences with the Navilas back in Berlin. We've been using this system for about 3 years now. Everybody is talking about digital navigation. The question is, do we need it? Does it make life faster? Does it make life easier or even safer? Thank you. We all remember the times where we did our personal navigation with paper maps, getting through traffic, getting to our destinations, and nowadays we have the option of digital navigation with new devices guiding us through traffic or to our destination. Here's a little video. The sound. The technician, the sound. Can you go up a little?
You could be in a nearby populated area and still be totally, utterly, and completely lost. GPS, Google Maps? Nope. We're talking about real maps. Paper maps. Actual maps you had to fold 200 times, like war movie-style mission planning kind of maps. And you know what? You could bring the map with you. Or maybe your dad would write down directions for himself in a crazy hieroglyphic scrawl that even Indiana Jones couldn't decipher. And when you got totally lost, you'd have to approach strangers on the street and almost beseech them to aid you. You'd be all like, "Pray tell, good sir, what place be this? Where be the land to the east, with the tower of stone and the linens and things?" And sometimes even the clearest of directions with some good citizen would be misinterpreted by your father, and the helpful comments of an 11-year-old's Magellan-like navigational skills would be ignored and even ridiculed, and just maybe that would mean you'd aimlessly drive around Blair Witch Country for half the day and arrive at summer camp 4 hours late.
Yeah, so this was just an idea of how navigation was back in the old days. I also remember using the old slit lamp. We're connected to a laser to do the retinal coagulation. But now for 3 years we've been using this machine here, making our life basically quite comfortable right now. So the question is, do we really need it, or is it just a nice device to have? The laser system, maybe some of you already know how it works. There are two main differences. Basically, you're not using a slit lamp. It's an indirect system. So the whole navigation is over a computer screen. You also have import options of diagnostic images, such as the fluorescent angiography or an OCT, whatever you want to. Then the second big difference is that you do a pre-planning before you start your treatment. This might be an example of a treatment plan. So you take a picture of your patient sitting right in front of you, the color picture, and then you can import the angiography. The computer matches the vessels and lays the two pictures on top of each other. Then in the next step, you can mark all the laser spots where you want to hit the retina later on. You can mark your microaneurysms, your ischemic areas, your edematous areas, whatever you like. And you can put in these caution zones. They are quite helpful, especially when you're doing central laser. In these areas, no laser spot will be applied at any time, which can make your treatment quite comfortable when you're very close to the fovea. Then this whole system, once you start your therapy, is connected with an eye tracking, and you can reach a high precision and safety. Here's a little example video from Berlin. The doctor is putting in this caution zones. He has imported his angiographic images and is marking his spots where he later on wants to treat. So this is the second part. He's looking what kind of energy to use, 50, 60, 70. He chose to use 70 milliwatt. And then the second steps, he's going from one spot to the other. Minor eye movements are corrected by the eye tracking system. So step by step, the computer guides you through your treatment plan. Okay. At the end of your treatment, you have a summary. You can store at your computer how many laser spots you applied, what kind of energy. You can put it into your patient file. This is another example video of a peripheral treatment. Here you can see a peripheral tear, horseshoe tear. The doctor is marking his spots around the tear. And then in the second step, he's doing the actual treatment. He can change the energy between the spots, between whichever energy he wants to, and can continue his treatment of his peripheral tear. So you can see it's using different energies, and the time is quite fast. So we experienced it to be much quicker to get the therapy done. At the end, you can make a picture again and store it in your file to see what it looked like at the day of your treatment. Down here. Okay, so one last video. I don't want to bore you with those videos, but this is the newest system of the PRP. You can see the doctor is marking the area in this diabetic patient of where to apply the laser spots. And then in the second step, she is actually performing the laser treatment. And you can see the speed is quite fast. The spots applied in a quite amount of time. She put in the caution areas, so she's safe not to hit any important parts of the retina. And at the end, she can store the report in the file. So you can see the speed you're performing the PRP is, to our experience, much faster than years before. Okay, so now we saw it's an interesting feature. It can make your life easier, but is it scientifically helpful? So we're seeing an increasing evidence in navigated laser therapy in peer-reviewed journals, starting 2009, 2007 with the first reports, and it's getting more and more over the years. Different people are looking at different aspects. Some people are looking for the retreatment rate. Some people are looking for pain and accuracy in treatment. And there's also some studies comparing different treatment schemes. This is just a short overview of some interesting papers. Schlabani, they looked at 4 different PRP approaches and looked for time consumed, the pain experienced by the patients, and the spot formation of the laser spots. So this might not be very important for your daily life, but the Navilas pattern, either in 30 milliseconds or 100 milliseconds compared to other laser systems, is still one of the fastest. 100 pulses applied in almost 120 milliseconds. Also, they looked at the spot ellipticity, so the equally rounded shapes of the laser spots, and also compared it to the conventional laser, and found it to be more precise. This is also very important to our patients back in Berlin, because some of them, they don't show up after the first therapy because sometimes it might be too painful. So they looked at the patient comfort. This group looked at the PRP treatment. This is a pain scale, 0 to 10. 10, high degree of pain, no pain. The conventional laser with 30 milliseconds, degree of pain 3. The 100 milliseconds, of course, a little bit more painful, but the conventional laser compared to the Navilas laser showed it to be less painful. Also for the focal treatment, a group from Munich, they looked at the pain scale, standard laser 4 to 6, and the Navilas 1 to 3. So they found that the treatment without contact lens decreased the pain experience in the patients, and also using infrared illumination also minimizes the pain experience. This is another group. They looked for the precision that the system is using. They found that 96% of the visible spots are within their 100 micromillimeter target. Also, these people, they looked at the hit rate of the macular microaneurysms. With the slit lamp, they reached a hit rate of 72% of the microaneurysms, and with the Navilas, they reached a hit rate of 92%. So you can hit your target very precisely. So now we can state that navigation is in its digital shape, helps us to be more precise, more comfortable, and you can even do your work faster. But how about the efficiency in the age of anti-VEGF treatment? When we look at the studies, we saw that the DRCnet study in 2015, they looked at a large group of patients, 240 patients in 5 years, and used the two devices of treatment of the diabetic macular edema, anti-VEGF or laser coagulation. It was not a surprise that anti-VEGF combination with laser is superior to a laser monotherapy, but if you look at the details, they had two different groups. One was the deferred laser group and a prompt laser group. And the deferred laser group, they started the laser treatment 1 year after injection therapy. In this group, 17 injections were needed to stabilize the visual acuity. In a different group, they started with the laser therapy right away along with the injections. And over the same time, 5 years, they only needed 13 injections in the same time with the same visual gain. So the laser therapy was not that important to the visual acuity, but you can save injections. These results of all these controlled major international studies, RISE, RIDE, Protocol T, they're very helpful for our decisions, but are not necessarily in line with the real-life findings back home in our practice. We often experience that many injections with time-consuming visits, partially painful treatments, and also other severe health problems of the patients, they often affect the compliance of the patients. We often see them, they don't come to their appointment. They might come half a year later, maybe 1 year later, and then your treatment is in vain. So we found that the challenge in real life is rather a durable and long-lasting treatment success. So we try to look of what device to use at what time point. In the RESTORE study, they had ranibizumab monotherapy. In the first year, they had 7 injections. They did a combination treatment with a standard laser. They only had a reduction down to 6.8 injections in the first year. Protocol 1, ranibizumab and the deferred laser, they had 9 injections in the first year. Compared to a prompt laser, at least they saved 1 injection in the first year. The so-called CAVNAV study, they had a different protocol. They had 66 patients in 2 arms. One arm, they did the monotherapy. They did an upload, and after this, a PRN. The combination group, they did a monthly upload, 3 injections. Then they performed the laser therapy with the navigated laser and followed with PRN. In this study, they had a need of roughly 7 injections in the first month where they did monotherapy, which goes along to the RESTORE study. The patients treated with a combined navigated laser in the first year only needed 4 injections. So this sounds quite promising, but we were wondering if this is actually also taking place in real life. So we looked at our patients back home and did a retrospective analysis of our DME patients that were treated with the Navilas. The inclusion criteria was diabetic macular edema, a combination therapy, anti-VEGF, and navigated laser. We looked at the patients that we could follow up at least 5 months after the last laser treatment, and only included the patients that had no pre-treatment before. For the evaluation, we looked at the number of injections before laser, after laser, and the visual acuity during time. Between November 2015 and May 17, we had about 169 patients with DME treated with the Navilas so far. Out of this group, we could only include 49 patients that fulfilled the criteria. The baseline visual acuity was 0.63, and the observation time after laser therapy, in average 1 year, but at least 5 months. And we also found a trend to a reduced injection without compromising the vision. We looked at the laser treatment, or the injections per month before laser treatment was 0.9, so almost monthly injections. After laser therapy, 0.4 injections. In other words, you could summarize it in 11 injections needed per year before the laser treatment compared to 5 injections after laser treatment. So roughly a saving of 50% of injections. That's at least what our data showed. And we looked at the vision. Baseline visual acuity, 0.6, stayed also for the last visit. So the results from the international studies sounded promising, and for us so far, this is only not working in study settings, but also in real life. At the end, a short example of a focal laser of microaneurysms. Here you can see the angiography at the baseline with typical macular edema, hemorrhages. Visual acuity was 0.6. We did an upload, 3 injections in 3 months. Then, afterwards, we followed with a laser of the microaneurysms. At that time point, the visual acuity was already 0.7. And this is the last visit. The angiography looks much better. The visual acuity is 0.9. And this patient, for example, is free of injections for 6 months now. So we found it not only to be a nice device, but also very helpful, especially for improving the compliance of the patients and getting to our target more safely, more precisely, and much faster. Okay, this is our group back in Berlin. Thank you.
Большое спасибо, Кристиан. Уважаемые коллеги, какие будут вопросы? Дмитрий Сергеевич, пожалуйста. Есть ли микрофон в зале дополнительно? Для синхронного перевода.
Большое спасибо. Работает, да? Большое спасибо за великолепную презентацию. Вопрос касается, я так понял, большинство планов лечения основаны на флуоресцентной ангиографии.
Yes, we always import the angiography, especially for the center laser. In the periphery, I would say maybe 50%, but in central laser, we always use the angiography to import.
Для лечения патологии макулярной области, диабета, вы выбираете все микроаневризмы, доступные при визуализации, или только те, которые демонстрируют просачивание?
We chose all microaneurysms.
Only leaky ones or every?
Leaky ones and all the other ones too.
Okay. Thank you.
Александр Сергеевич, пожалуйста. У нас только в центре микрофон, просто идет синхронный перевод. Не сможет перевести.
Спасибо большое за интересный доклад. Скажите, пожалуйста, каким образом вы подбираете параметры излучения? То есть вы ориентируетесь на ту картинку, которую видите на мониторе?
If I understand your question right, you asked for how much energy we use in the treatment. Okay. So maybe can I go back in the presentation? I have the in this first video you can see that when you start you can mark different energies. And then once you do your application of your laser treatment, it's 50 milliwatt, 60 and 70, and you can look how much energy you use for seeing your spots. And then you can decide and change it as much as you want.
Тогда следующий вопрос звучит иначе немножко. При выполнении флуоресцентной ангиографии макулярная область всегда, в подавляющем большинстве у пациентов, темная. Не потому, что там мало капилляров, а потому, что в сосудистой оболочке много пигмента. Таким образом, вы подбираете энергию воздействия на зоне, где нет такого количества пигмента, а потом начинаете лечить макулярную область.
Yes, could you repeat your question? I know that the treatment of the microaneurysms is a little diversely discussed. Some are arguing that because of the fluid, the blood flow, you cannot really coagulate the microaneurysms. But we have a good experience with this so far.
Thank you.
Okay.
Уважаемые крестьяне, у меня будет один вопрос. При лечении диабетического макулярного отека какой вид навигации вы предпочитаете и в каких случаях, когда вы используете карту толщины ОКТ, а в каких случаях вы используете флуоресцентную ангиографию для наложения и планирования операции? При диабетическом макулярном отеке.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't get that question with can you repeat it?
При лечении диабетического макулярного отека какой вид навигации вы предпочитаете? Использование флуоресцентной ангиографии или карту толщины сетчатки по УКТ?
We usually use the angiography.
In all cases?
In all cases, angiography.
Okay. Thank you so much. Уважаемые коллеги, давайте поблагодарим докладчика. У нас дефицит времени.